Hi friends, today in math, Miss Canarium made a little mistake. I know it's hard to believe that I would make a mistake, but I make mistakes just like you do. So I put in an extra 2 papers that you don't need for today's lesson. So parents, listen up. I'm going to quickly show you the 2 papers that you will not need for today's lesson. So this paper right here, you will not need for today's lesson. And the paper that had all the shapes on it, you will also not need for today's lesson. You will, if you have access to a printer, need the paper that has the robot and the other paper next to it that has the shapes. If you have any questions about that, please just reach out to your teacher or to me. All right, on to today's lesson. On the floor, you'll see that I have a bunch of shapes. Now, we've learned about these shapes in the past, and we've learned that these shapes are called flat shapes. They're flat like a pancake, so when we turn them this way, we can't see them. They're flat. Let's quickly review the names of these shapes. Hopefully, you still remember them. Let's look at this flat shape. It has 3 sides. They're straight. It's closed, and it has 3 corners. This shape right here is called a triangle. How about this shape, boys and girls? What is it called? A circle. A circle has no sides, no corners, no edges, and it has all rounded sides, and it's closed. This next shape right here, what's this one called? That's called a square. Remember, we talked about how a square is a special type of rectangle. So this is a rectangle and this is a square. Squares have 4 equal sides that are straight, and a rectangle has 4 sides that are straight, but there's 2 long sides and 2 short sides. And then this shape down here on the bottom, it has 6 sides, 6 corners, it's closed, and there's straight sides. Do you remember that shape, boys and girls? Now that's called a hexagon. So that's a quick review of all of the shapes that we learned over the past few weeks. Triangle, circle, square, rectangle, and hexagon. Well, today we're going to use these shapes and talk about the words more, less, and fewer. The word more means that there is bigger amounts of that. So as we look at these shapes right here, which one do you think has more? Do you think there's more triangles or more circles? Yeah, there's more triangles. We can look and see if we match them up. We can see that there is still 2 more triangles than there is circles. So remember, more means bigger. Look at the squares and the hexagons. Which group has fewer? That means not as many. Well, we can look and see and match them up. The square has fewer. It has 1 fewer than the hexagons. So we could also say that the hexagon has more than the squares. Now let's look at the rectangles and the circles. Which group has more? The circles and the rectangles. Just by looking, can you tell? Well, the group that has more, if we match them up together, we can see that the group that has more would be the rectangle group. The rectangle group has more because there's 1 more rectangle than there is circles. And if I asked you which group has fewer or less, not as many, it would be the circles. There's not as many circles. Now, let's look at them all together. All these shapes together. Let me move my circle back over here. Just by looking at all these shapes together, boys and girls, which group do you think has more? Triangle, rectangle, hexagon, circle, or rectangle? Which group has more, has the most? Yeah, the triangles. There's more triangles than there is any other shape. Now, which group do you think there are fewer of or less? Yeah, the square. There's only 2 squares. So there's fewer squares than any other shape that's out here. Fewer means not as many. All right, boys and girls, now it's going to be your turn. If you can print these 2 sheets out at home, you get to have a little fun making Robot Man. And it gives you a little code over here, and it tells you that all of the circles on Robot Man need to be red, and then you need to count how many circles you had. And then all of the triangles need to be yellow, and count how many you have. And all of the hexagons need to be green, and then count and put that number in. And then all of the rectangles need to be orange, and count and how many you have. If you cannot print this paper out at home, boys and girls, then maybe you could draw, or maybe your parents can help you draw the Robot Man with these shapes, and you can count them out and color it by yourself. The next page you have, your parents are going to have to help you and read, and it's going to ask you questions about which one has more and which one has fewer, and then you color in the right answer. Remember, more means that there is a bigger amount, and fewer means there is a smaller amount. All right, boys and girls, I hope you have fun with the Robot Man today, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.